Hello, namaste, tashidale, happy Friday, good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Thank you for joining me today. I would like to talk about impermanence. Today I will do a short explanation of impermanence, followed by a guided meditation. The reason I really like talking about impermanence is because in my experience as a Buddhist practitioner and person living in samsara, sometimes we have a tendency to grab what we want or try to grab what we want. We call that desire or attachment. And we have a tendency to push away what we don't like. We call that aversion or hostility or anger. And these two kind of desire and aversion are really driven by ignorance. And there's different types of ignorance, but really the strong desire to get what we want is driven by ignorance of the fact that no matter what objects we could get, they're all impermanence. No matter how great an object might be, how beautiful, how enjoyable, whether it's a person or a material object or a great job, a wonderful husband or a wife, whatever we're trying to attain or get, or you could even say whatever our ambitions are to achieve something. That's another one, achievement, whether it's a job promotion or some type of, something that has to do with your reputation with other people. When we're going and we're striving to try to get something, we tend to latch onto it and take it really serious. We think if we could get this thing or achieve something or get what we want, whatever it may be, we believe it will bring us happiness. Couple problems with that. Oh, by the way, same thing over here. Pushing away. If we could just push away sickness, or if we could push away the difficulty, we have some certain type of difficulty in our life. If we could just push that away, get rid of it, then everything would be fine. So here's the deal. When we have this mentality of really wanting to get what we want, really wanting to push away what we don't like, these two things are desire and aversion, and they're arising based on ignorance. Again, ignorance could be categorized in different ways. Today, in a very direct and simple fashion, I want to explain the ignorance of impermanence. Or better stated, the ignorance of not understanding impermanence. So the ignorance that perceives and grasps onto things as if they are permanent. Now, I've had a lot of experience with suffering. I'm sure everybody has. There's so many different types of suffering. One of the main types of suffering is the suffering of change. There's a great quote from Togme Zangpo, the master who wrote the 37 Practices of Bodhisattvas. And I'm going off memory, so I might get this wrong, but he said, good friends who have long kept company will part. Wealth created with great difficulty will be left behind. Consciousness, the guest, will leave the guest house of the body. Let go of this life. This is the practice of bodhisattvas. Now, we suffer a lot due to this misunderstanding of things as being permanent. Since we misunderstand things as being permanent, we also put something onto that permanent item as reliability. So we see something, it seems impermanent. You really look at me and you think I'm Jason, and you think I'm talking about the Dharma. and you think that's a tanka, and you think that's an altar, and these words that we use to define and describe the world around us, the words themselves are static, unchanging words. So Jason, Jason, that's 5 words. Or you could say self, SELF, 5 letters, and self is 4 letters. So the world around us has these artificial conceptual labels that we impute onto them, and those labels are in fact unchanging. So, the word self is this 5-letter word, SELF, 4 letters. I was told there would be no math in this course. SELF, 4 letters. So the word self is 4 letters, right? And that 4-letter word doesn't change. Of course, in your language, it could be different. Whatever your language is, it's going to have a different sound when you speak the word self. But the bottom line is, whatever that word is in your language, that word itself doesn't change. But then what describes what it's describing, so you could say the referent of the word self or the thought self, is what it's describing. It's the actual object. And that object is nothing but change, right? We were born, and when we were born, we were what? Maybe this big? Very small. Maybe 7 or 8 pounds, 6, 7, 8 pounds, 9 pounds. There's a range, of course, but we were born as these very small babies. We couldn't walk, we couldn't talk, we were helpless. Now, fast forward to the person that you are right now. The word self is used to describe that baby and to describe who you are now. And those are 2 very different things, right? So that word didn't change, but of course, the referent of the word, the object that it's describing, is changing moment by moment. In fact, right now, we're breathing, you're breathing. You might have forgotten about that, but in, out, breathing all day long. Heart's beating, right? You hear sounds. When a sound comes out, it appears and then disappears to the ears. I should say you can hear it. The sound waves arise and then dissolve, right? So we're breathing, our hearts are beating, we hear sounds. We have physical sensations in the body. They arise and they dissolve, arise and dissolve all day long. And of course, we tend to forget this. We're so focused on our thinking and our ideas and our concepts, what we want, what we don't want. We're so locked in on our intellect and our thinking that we often forget that we are here right now, and our body is full of sensations from our head to our toes. All day long, there's different sensations. In fact, the Buddhist terminology for these sensations is, there's this word feelings, which really is defined as the pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral feeling tone of an experience. All day long, we're experiencing these feelings of basically just experiences that are pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral. And we forget that. When we drink our coffee or tea or water, we take the mug, we pick it up, we move it, we lift it, we take a sip, we set it back down. When we take a sip, the muscles in our throat take the liquid, push them down our esophagus, down into our body. And then that sets off changes, right? I'm not a physician, but I think the water goes through, does it go through your liver and your kidneys and then your digestive system and then you get rid of it, right? Whatever it is that you take in. So all day long, everything around us is changing. In fact, I wrote a prayer some years ago just because I wanted to recite it every day. And one of the things in my prayer was I talked about I forgot, actually, I'd have to pull up the prayer, but I compared the world to a prayer wheel. You know, when you spin a Tibetan prayer wheel, it's nonstop motion, right? And really, our world is doing this right now. We see all of these things around us, and we assume that they're permanent because their appearance seems to be reliable, steady, stable, permanent. And so we misunderstand and miscategorize everything around us to be steady, stable, permanent, reliable, independent. But there's nothing that's like that. When we speak words out of our mouths, air comes up, it passes over our vocal cords, which vibrate, and then sound waves come out. Actually, if you take a moment and you really kind of think about this, and of course, in order to talk, there are muscles in your body contracting, kind of squeezing, in order to push the air out. As the air is coming out, it's passing over our vocal cords, and we're just moving our tongues and mouths. We're just moving them around to make certain sounds come out. It's almost as though our throat, vocal cords, mouth, tongue are similar to a musical instrument. You know, when somebody plays a guitar or the drums, they're manipulating what they're doing to achieve a desired result. In other words, they're constantly creating causes to produce effects, which, by the way, is karma. Karma is cause and effect. Karma fits very nicely with impermanence. Phenomena arise as the effects of previous causes. Anything that arises is by nature impermanence. It's arising as an effect due to previous causes. The causes are impermanent, and of course the effects are impermanent. So impermanence fits together perfectly with Buddha's teachings on karma, right? But the problem is we forget. We forget our ignorance. My ignorance perceives the world with a feeling tone of permanence, with an apparent permanence. It really has this experiential flavor of being quite permanent. When we have a runny nose and we try to pull the liquid back up, that liquid is, kind of falling out of our noses. When we sweat, as we breathe, as our heart beats, in the mind, thoughts are arising all day long. We see things and then thoughts come up. Or thoughts come up based on other thoughts that lead to other thoughts. Dujam Rinpoche called this the chain of deluded thinking. And he really talked about how trusting that chain of deluded thinking is responsible for all of our suffering. Thoughts and ideas are impermanent. They arise in the mind like a flash of lightning, and then they disappear. And if you turn your attention backwards towards the mind and you try to see a thought arise and then dissolve, it's so fast and so subtle, you almost miss it. You almost can't see it arise and dissolve. It's just like this dreamlike appearance in the mind. There'll be a kind of a spacious emptiness for a moment. All of a sudden, a thought comes up. And just as fast as it appears, it's gone. Usually we don't notice this because we are lost within those thoughts. So when these thoughts come up, it's almost as if we're living them out. We're kind of trapped in a simulation. We're living out these thoughts, and we get into, there's a word, daydreams. It's like we have these daydreams and we're reliving moments of the past. We're anticipating the future all day long. Nothing but impermanence. When you're sending messages on your iPhone or Android phone, you're sending a message to your friend or responding. Your fingers are typing out those messages. Nothing but impermanence, right? Everything around us. The problem is we don't remember that everything's impermanent. Now, why would we want to learn impermanence? One main reason is, and by the way, you notice I've been talking about momentary impermanence. One thing I really appreciate about Theravada Buddhism is they practice momentary impermanence. And one thing I really love about the Tibetan Buddhism structure and teachings is they focus on death and impermanence. Death and impermanence are great motivators to remind us our time here is limited. Death could come at any moment. And therefore, if we want to be peaceful at the time of death, it's taught that Dharma, the Buddha's teachings, will help us and protect us and give us peace when we die. So that contemplation of impermanence and death creates motivation for us to practice, meditate, practice. Whereas momentary impermanence, actually, back to the Theravadins, that momentary impermanence gives us the ability to shatter the ignorance that holds us hostage to this notion of things being stable, permanent, and reliable. When in fact, everything is, nothing but instability, impermanence, and unreliability. You might have this belief that you can rely on things to go a certain way. But we all know that's not how the world works. You get a phone call and your loved one died suddenly. This happened to me with my mom and my dad. My mom died suddenly at age 48. That was many years ago. That was 18 years ago, I believe. My father died suddenly 2 years ago. And when you get that phone call that your loved, and I'm in a different state than both of my parents, you get that phone call that your loved one died suddenly. You don't get to say goodbye. And it shatters this false belief of steady, reliable, stable, trustworthy reality. It shatters this belief that we can take refuge in things going a certain way according to stability, trustworthiness, right? It's just not how things work. You could avoid this reality and try to ignore it and, kind of just hope that things go your way. But it's about the least intelligent thing you could do, because ignoring it doesn't change it. It doesn't fix the problem. So I have a deep admiration and devotion to Lord Buddha because he taught us everything is impermanent on a moment-by-moment basis. And of course, all things that arise are subject to fall. That which arises is subject to fall. Whatever is born is subject to death. Being born guarantees death. As one is born, death, although it's kind of paused for some period of time, but death essentially comes along with that birth as a guaranteed outcome. So I have a great deal of devotion, admiration, and respect for Buddha because of what he taught us. He taught us the truth. And so, as I was mentioning, we could ignore this reality, suppress it, try to avoid it, hope that things go our way, hope we don't get sick, hope we don't get in a car accident, hope we don't lose our job, hope we don't get a divorce, hope our loved ones are alive. How about animals? I'm a big animal lover, and I've had 7, 8 dogs and cats over the years. Of course, not at one time, but actually I had 6 at one time. But when our animals die, it's the most painful thing, right? So we can keep just kind of hoping that everything stays the same, or we can practice. Now, I want to do a brief meditation. And when you meditate, there's different meditation traditions. By the way, I want to meditate on impermanence together. And like I said, you could avoid the reality that things are impermanent, or you could actually do something about it. And Buddha taught us to do something about it. Sorry. Impermanence. I have no control. It's really true. We want things to go our way, but they can't. So I want to do a brief meditation with you. And when we meditate, in terms of posture, most important thing is your back is straight, but it's not rigid. You shouldn't be struggling to hold your posture so hard that it takes immense effort. Okay? So your posture should be straight, kind of the center of your back, it should be straight, but it should also be somewhat relaxed. And then instead of looking straight forward, it's taught that you kind of just slightly move your head a little bit forward, so that instead of your eyes looking at a 45-degree angle, it's more like, half. So like, whatever that is, from kind of straight down. So like if you're sitting like this, right? So if this is your torso and this is your butt, instead of looking straight forward, you kind of want to just slightly angle your eyes so that they're down a little bit. And then your eyes can be wide open. They can be hooded. Actually, wide open probably would make your eyes dry out. But they could be kind of hooded and very relaxed with no focal point. But they can also just be closed. Okay? And then your legs, let me tilt this down. So the way that I meditate, everybody has different body types. Your legs could be just crossed on the cushion. And by the way, you should sit on a cushion, something like this, so that your butt is kind of propped up. That helps the posture. So your legs could just be crossed. By the way, if you're sitting in a chair, that's fine too. Just have your feet flat on the ground, and you can have your hands like this, or you can have your hands like this. So your legs can be crossed. They can also, what I like to do is I take this foot and I put it right here. Now, the Buddha taught the posture of full lotus. Full lotus would be taking the bottom of this foot, putting it on your thigh, and then doing the same with this foot, which I cannot do. My body has injuries and I'm not that flexible. So you could do, this is half lotus, where you're putting your foot up like this, and then you take your left hand, you put it here, right hand on top of your left hand, and then you make this mudra where you touch your thumbs together, okay? And then, again, for me, I prefer this because it's more, this posture here is much more natural for me. It's quite stable, but it's much more natural, okay? And then the meditation itself that I would like us to do, it's going to be somewhat short. Maybe we'll do maybe 5-10 minutes. So what we're going to do is we're going to kind of get into a comfortable posture. Like I said before, you can close your eyes if you want to. And put your attention on the body. And take a moment and try to let go of all the tension. And if you prefer to put your hands like this, you might be able to relax a little bit more. So start by putting your attention at the top of your head. And just know there is a head, there is a body. Feel the sensations on the top of your head. Next, put your attention on your forehead. As you feel the sensations on that part of the body, remember, sensations are totally impermanent. If they were permanent, you wouldn't be able to feel them because nothing would be able to arise. Put your attention on your eyes and behind your eyes. As you feel the sensations, try to relax them. Try to see if you can feel the tightness and the tension that we typically hold in the body. And try to release that tension and just kind of let go of whatever's causing you to hold that tension in that place. Your cheekbones and your jaw. Focus on it and then release the tension. The back of your head. Notice the sensations and then relax it. And let go of whatever tension is there by just letting go. Making that muscle or body part totally released and relaxed. Inside the middle of the brain, the middle of your head. Just let that part of the body totally rest. Back of the neck. Notice it and then relax and release. Where the neck meets the shoulders on the side and the back of the body. Notice it and then relax and release. The chest. The arms. Shoulders and arms. Relax and release. Elbows, forearms. The whole back from top to bottom. Excuse me. Relax and release the tension in the back. Your butt, relax and release. Notice the feeling of you sitting, the pressure and the weight of you sitting. Your legs, your knees. If you're starting to feel peaceful, you can crack a smile. How wonderful it is that we can relax and find peace instead of being so caught up in the play of unceasing appearances. Focus on your feet, your calves and the lower parts of your legs. Now, this could be your whole meditation if you wanted it to, but now I want you to turn your attention to the breathing. Your mouth should be closed and relaxed. Turn your attention to the breathing at your nose. Breathe normally. Don't put any effort into breathing. Actually, don't even breathe. Just know that air is coming and going. You could put your attention here at the tips of the nose. Breathing in, I know I'm breathing in. Breathing out, I know I'm breathing out. So notice on the in-breath, the sensations of air coming in the nose. And then on the out-breath, the sensation of air coming out. So on the in-breath, it's a little bit cool at the nostrils, and then the air comes up here, and then it goes down into the lungs. And as you breathe in, the body's kind of tense because it's working to pull that air in. And by the way, you're not putting any effort into the breathing. You're just aware and mindful of the sensations at the nose. But you're breathing totally natural. So just stay with that. Whenever a distracting thought comes up, smile with gratitude that you recognized it and release it. And go back to the breath. Now, as you breathe in, pay attention to the beginning and the end of that in-breath. The pause after the in-breath, and then the beginning and the end of the out-breath, and the pause after the out-breath. And you want to put just enough effort into this that you're able to maintain that concentration of the beginning of the in-breath, the end of the in-breath, the pause, and then the beginning and the end of the out-breath and the pause. You don't want to put too much effort in to where you're tight. Your body should be loose, relaxed, peaceful. But you don't want to put so little effort into it that you get distracted. So you want to be in the middle, not too tight, not too loose. If it helps you, you could make a silent mental note of beginning, like as you breathe in, beginning, end, and then notice the pause, and then as you breathe out, you could silently know beginning, end. Remember, don't modify your breath, don't change it, don't put any effort into it. Make sure your body's very relaxed. You're not straining and you're not forcing the breath, you're not controlling it, you're letting it flow totally natural on its own. But you're just paying attention to the beginning of the in-breath, the end of the in-breath, the pause, and then the beginning of the out-breath, the end of the out-breath, and the pause. And as you're paying attention to these, you are meditating on impermanence. If any thoughts arise, you can contemplate their impermanence and just know a thought has arisen, it's impermanent, and then you let it go. If any pain arises, or bodily sensations, or memories, or anxiety about the future, if anything whatsoever arises, just release it and go back to the breath and know you just experienced an impermanent arising, and then you impermanently let it go, and then you impermanently came back to the impermanent breath. There's nothing but constant change everywhere. If really joyful and peaceful and blissful feelings arise, smile and let them go. Don't get attached. If really painful feelings arise, smile and let go. Don't get attached. Your back hurts, your leg hurts, your knees hurt. Remember, those sensations are impermanent and let them go. Opening your eyes, remembering that our meditation has come to an end because whatever has the nature to arise has the nature to fall. Our meditation session began, it had a middle, and then it ended. Every word we speak arises, has a middle, and then falls. When we get up from our meditation cushion, there's a beginning of standing, there's a middle, and then an end when we're fully standing. Every step we take, our feet arise, move, and fall. Arise, move, and fall. When we shift, everything is change. Sounds, they arise and fall. And once they're gone, that particular sound is totally done. And then another one will come, and then it dissolves. Everything is moving. If we can tune into this constant impermanence, we can let go of our grasping at what we want and what we don't want, or grasping at what we want and pushing away what we don't want. We can be a lot more loose, peaceful, relaxed. We don't have to be so tight, anxious, stressed, fearful, worried, concerned. We can let go. So really what this impermanence allows us to do is to let go. If you just tell somebody, hey, let go of your problems, they might say, well, but how? How do I let go? Pay attention to that situation. It's moving every second. If you can really see the movement moment by moment, you'll start to see all of this more like, instead of solid houses and people and cars and monasteries and TV shows, instead of seeing these solid things, you'll start to see more like ocean waves, because nothing is stable. It's all fluid. We just don't normally recognize it. With this, my dear friends, I'm grateful that you take time to learn the Dharma. There's nothing more important. And at the end of every positive thing we do, we dedicate the merit of that thing to all sentient beings. So whatever good deeds that we perform, whether it's a thought, speech, or action, anything good we do based on love, kindness, compassion, meditation, any of these positive things, we dedicate the merit of that activity to the benefit of all sentient beings. So, I dedicate the merit that has arisen as a result of this Dharma discussion and meditation to all mother sentient beings. May all beings benefit from this action. May all beings have happiness and the causes of happiness as a result of this action. May they be free from suffering and the causes of suffering as a result of this action. Most importantly, may they become fully enlightened Buddhas. And I'm talking all sentient beings, from the smallest bacteria to the largest mammal. May all sentient beings on every planet, wherever they may be, the infinite number of sentient beings, may every one of them become a Buddha as a result of this practice. So we're not trying to hold it for ourselves. We're giving it away to everybody. That's love. That's compassion. Okay, my friends, thank you so much for practicing the Dharma. I rejoice in your Dharma practice. It brings me great happiness. I'm proud of you, and I'm happy that you're practicing, because it's going to bring you immeasurable, inconceivable, unlimited happiness. Okay? Take care. Sending all my love. Bye.